people? It is your boy, C. Grant. Welcome to another edition of the Guy Talk Pod, where we are honest, open, and transparent. Thank you for joining us today. Got my co-host in the building, Marcus Winfrey. What's up, boss?
Yes, good, man.
How you doing? How you doing, man?
This episode. I'm good, man.
Ready for another good episode?
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
We got our boy David Burrus back.
Yes, sir.
As promised, I'm not sure how many of you have seen our Permissions to Think Differently Part 1, where we talked about men and marriage. And at the end of the episode, if you saw it, we said that we committed to bringing our single men into the conversation. So you're watching today, Permission to Think Differently. Part 2, we are diving into singleness, our single brothers, our single men, to help understand what that looks like and how to navigate that. So, David, welcome back.
Thank you, King.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I brought my seasonings all the way from California. For those of you you got to watch episode 1 to understand.
The first one.
Yeah, I brought my California seasonings with me. Yeah, good to be back.
And I noticed since the last time we talked with you, you've dropped several ebooks.
Yes, sir.
David's an accomplished author, everyone, a wealth of knowledge in the relationship space, in the marriage space, in the ministry space, and we are just thrilled to have him back. And the ebooks, I saw, 2040? In terms of the singleness,
yeah,
speaking to men about 20, what that looks like?
Yeah, so it's men and women, but it's really 20 principles for men and women who are dating over 40.
Gotcha.
There's a whole nother
So
landscape.
single over 40.
Single over 40.
And what was the significance of the 2040?
It's just 20 principles.
So 20 principles. Gotcha.
20 principles for the guys who I know who are trying to get this thing right.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just want to put something together for them, man. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I have some friends that are in that neighborhood of age of 40 that are still single or maybe divorced sometime back, but are ready to now,
Yes, sir.
Find the right one, quote unquote, or the God sent one.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's a great segue into today's topic. If you're just joining us, Permissions to Think Differently, Part 2, we're talking about single men and what that looks like from a godly perspective and practical perspective in a lot of regards too. And this episode is no different. If you've been following us, we always set the tone with the scripture to begin the episode. And today's scripture is 1 Corinthians 7:32-34. It's a little lengthy, but I felt it important to capture everything for this important topic today. This is going to be awesome. I'm very excited about it. The scripture again, 1 Corinthians 7:32-34, and I'm reading from the NLT version. I want you to be free from the concerns of this life. An unmarried man can spend his time doing the Lord's work and thinking how to please him. But a married man has to think about his earthly responsibilities and how to please his wife. His interests are divided. In the same way, a woman who is no longer married or has never been married can be devoted to the Lord and in holy body and in spirit. But a married woman has to think about her earthly responsibilities and how to please her husband. And when God brought this to me, again, preparation for the podcast, we know God gives us instructions as married. We know what Paul says: it's better to marry than to burn, right?
Yeah.
But this is the first time I got a revelation where God actually, through Paul to the Corinthians, gives an instruction about being single, but single God's way. Being single God's way, meaning that, hey, your married folks, they're believers, they're followers, they're being obedient, but they got other things that, I've assigned for the provider, the head, the husband, and the wife to do. So they got other things going on along with serving me. So their time is divided. As a single person, you have more time to spend with me. You have more time to be in the community. You have more times for your prayer life, your fasting life, whatever that may be. And I started off by, again, God gave me the revelation of being single his way and what we should be prioritizing in our single phase, right? In singleness, you hear so much about, I can do what I want to do. I'm single. God has pretty much told you, no, you can't.
Sir.
This is what you should be doing when you're single. David, how do we really help single men understand in your singleness, in this season, your priority should be X?
Yeah. Man, you have to spend a lot of time really leaning into what your purpose is and finding out what it is that God has called you to do. And to the brother who's watching this who does not know his purpose, I'm going to give you a few things just to consider. First thing, your purpose is found in the thing you would do every day for free.
Mm.
Your purpose is found in the thing that frustrates you to see it done wrong or or not being done at all. Your purpose is found in the thing that you would do all day without exhausting. Your purpose is found in the thing that people come to you and know you for, right? There's so many other things, but really honing in on what that thing is and what that purpose is, that locks you into God and his will and his plan for your life. And now everything that comes into your life after that has to fall in line with those things that God has purposed you to do.
Gotcha. So, as you were saying that, it made me think about, the spiritual perspective and approach versus a practical approach, right? So, what if there are men out there that not necessarily are believers? They desire to be good men, which almost sounds like a oxymoron.
Yeah.
But in their minds, they may desire to be a good person / good men. What would we say to them to say, hey, you need to navigate or maybe even pivot, differently to get the results you're trying to get as a single in your single season?
Yeah, so I think we have to really take time in our single time to get ourselves together, right? And like David was saying, knowing your purpose and those things, because there's so many things that you can shift while you're single.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if this was a thing I used to do prior to when I'm ready for a relationship or something like that, I need to pivot to changing up. I used to have 3-4 women that I dealt with while I was single, but I want a wife now, so
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I have
Yeah.
to realize that I can't do that anymore.
Right.
So
right.
my outlook on things have to begin to shift to what I need them to look like, whether I'm a worldly man, a godly man, whatever the case may be, a man who don't even believe
Yeah.
in nothing.
Right.
Realizing that I have to shift into what I want to see for myself in my life. You have to have a vision for for your own life as a man, and you have to be happy within yourself before you can even get ready to go into anything else. So
That's good.
a lot of time we need to take time as single men to focus on getting me together, because you can't look for a woman to make you happy when you're not happy
Yeah,
within.
with yourself.
You can't look for kids to come bring happiness when you're not happy within. You have to be happy within first.
Yeah.
And say, okay, well, I'm happy now. So if my wife comes, it's not her job to make me happy.
Mm.
Okay, it's her job to be my wife,
Right.
and for us to love each other and be
Wow.
together. And so once I'm happy within, you don't come in with a job. You come
Yeah.
in with an occupation, with saying, hey, it's easy here because this brother is happy with himself.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I'm gonna come in and add to it, and then he's gonna help me become happy with myself as well. You have two happy people coming together, it's not gonna be as hard,
Right.
But you got to get yourself together first. I see a lot of brothers, you had 3 women yesterday, now you get married tomorrow. Like,
Right.
that makes no sense to me.
Right.
You haven't got those areas of your life together. So I think that's a lot of things we have to realize when we're getting started in that lifestyle. Who am I? Where am I going? And how I'm going to get there?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
And you spoke volumes there in terms of getting yourself together. And I was looking through kind of some of my notes here in terms of like that self-improvement, right? That personal growth, and really how this aligns, with kind of the Christian values, right? Men as a whole, we of course want to be better in physically, spiritually, mentally, and those who saw the God Rich episode know what I'm talking about there. It encompasses, so much with that. So, Marcus, if you can go into a little more detail in terms of what that self-improvement should kind of really look like for the man. Where does he start?
Yeah. Number one is realizing who you are as a person. Who am I?
Yeah.
That's the number one question you need to ask yourself. Who am I? Who am I on my good days, bad days, days I don't feel like doing it? Who am I?
Yeah.
Am I lazy? Am I a go-getter? Not? Am I self-motivated? Do I need people to motivate? Who am I? Those are the number one things you need to figure out, because until you know yourself, you're no good for nobody.
Yeah.
You can't be the best father if you don't know who you are as a person.
Right.
You can't be the best husband unless you know who you are as a person. So learn who I am first.
Yeah.
Okay. Once I know who I am, then I say, okay, what things do I need to improve about me? And be open and honest with yourself. Okay, hey, I lied. I got a problem lying, so I need to fix that.
Right.
Those are issues that's going to hinder me in the long run, whether it's relationships or business, whatever the case may be. What are some things that's hindering me in my life to not get me to go where I want to go? Number 3, I might be lazy. Okay, so if I'm lazy, how do I get from being lazy? I don't have self-discipline. I don't have those things. Learning yourself and being honest with yourself. Because if you're never honest with yourself, how can you get help?
Right.
A lot of us, we lie to ourselves so often. Oh, I'm a good man. I'm a good brother. I'm going to do this. I do this. You a dog on the truth. But you don't want to be honest with yourself and say, I'm a dog, but I need to fix that.
I need to fix
okay,
that.
you're not beating. People think that if you be honest with yourself, you're beating yourself up.
Right.
No, you're not. You're being honest and being real so you can fix
So
those
you can
areas.
fix those things.
The number one thing I did in my time of being single is realize I got some problems that I need to address.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I could never get better steady trying to mask those problems with another woman. Right? Or steady trying to mask those problems with buying more stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't. The motorcycle didn't make me feel like I was a better man.
Right.
Right. It didn't make me feel like my issues were gone. It just made me realize that, hey, I'm a messed up person with a motorcycle now.
Right.
I'm a messed up person with a nice car.
Right.
I'm a messed up person with a nice house. But okay, let's say, okay, I am a messed up person. I got some areas that I messed up. I'm not damaged goods. Don't get me wrong. I still can be fixed. But I had to learn, who am I? Okay. And now that I see who I am, let me fix those areas. Okay, if I'm the same person that you met 5 years ago, I didn't evolve nowhere, that's my problem.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't make nobody see me differently when I'm not different, when I haven't changed. I can't give you a facade and make you feel like that's the real thing.
Right.
It's not the real thing.
Right.
You haven't changed.
Right.
Okay, so those are the things that I would tell any single brother. Figure out who you are and realize, once you realize that, do some focusing on getting those things together. Get you a therapist, get you some friends, read some books. Okay, we as brothers, we need to read more.
Yeah.
Read you some books about life, different. Find you a church if you're not in one. Find you an organization that you can be a part of that's going to help build you up as a person. There's always safety. There's always safety in the multitude of counsel.
Yes.
Putting yourself around people that's better than you.
Yes.
That's in a place that you may want to go. I don't want to be the same type of man I was 7 years ago, 6 years ago, right? So I'm not going to hang around those same type of men that's doing the same thing. If I want to see myself as a married man, I'm not going to hang around brothers that run women all day.
Right.
You
right.
got 5 or 6 women. Both of your phones hot all day.
Right.
Because you can't get it together. I don't want to be around them because that's not going to lead me where I want to be. But let me get around some brothers who have some integrity about themselves, who have some character, that's built some character, and say, okay, cool, this is the type of brother I want to get to, so I'm going to hang around that. But that's me being honest with myself.
Man,
I'm looking at Genesis, man, and looking at the life of Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
What I noticed in Genesis, when I read it, and I won't read it right now, but I noticed, man, God put Adam to sleep, cut Adam open, took the rib. But guys, it says something interesting. It says, he closed the flesh thereof.
He closed it. Yeah.
Then he made woman.
Yeah.
wow.
So if we look at that process, man, God knew that he needed to bring her out of him. He put that single man to sleep, cut him open, took the rib. But the Bible says this, he does not bring Eve until he closes Adam up.
Wow.
So what that shows us is this, as a single man, my healing is the most important thing I can get before I connect with any woman.
Man, that's good.
Because if I don't heal before she comes, I now become a cancer to her.
Oh, wow.
I bleed all over her.
Wow.
And there's so many single men who are bleeding over the Eves that God has sent them. Because he didn't wait long enough for God to close him before he brought her. So as a single man, listen to this, man. Even as my brother Marcus said, man, you have to spend some time dealing with you so that you are not bleeding and becoming a contamination to the woman God is sending into your life.
Wow, that's good. That's good. And I when I hear you say that, a couple things come to mind. One, starting with Marcus in terms of we're gonna go to both. I want to piggyback off both, but first, what Marcus was saying about basically the community. The community of brothers that you put yourself around, right? That's so important, because what we'll feel as individuals, but specifically as men, if I'm trying to stop drinking, and I love my homeboys to death, I love my brother to death, I love my cousins to death, whoever these people, whoever they may be, it makes no sense for me to keep going around every weekend to watch the game, and I know they drinking, and I'm battling drinking.
Yeah.
It's almost like the example of people saying, if you're trying to stop smoking crack, stop. Why would you keep going to the crack house?
Right.
If your true goal is to better yourself in those areas, and we need more community of men, non-judgmental community of men.
Yeah, bro.
And when you're talking with your single, and I want to come back to the other thing, but real quickly, David, when you're talking to single men, do you find that they have this community, or are they on an island alone a lot of times?
No community, bro.
Wow.
A lot of these guys are trying to do it, or they're in community with other unhealthy men.
That's it.
Wow.
And so we're all moving together at the same pace, doing the same thing.
Yeah.
What I am trying to encourage men to do is to lean into these type of conversations, to the Guy Talk podcast of the world, so that because this is community too, man. What I had to learn to do, even in my singleness, man, is I had to find mentorship, even as Marcus said, man, in reading books.
Yeah.
There's sometimes when I don't have a close mentor, but that book is mentoring me.
Yeah.
This podcast is mentoring some men, right? And so let this be the community, right, that you need, but you can't do it by yourself, and you cannot do it with unhealthy men. You will not get to what God has for you.
Yeah. And that's important, because I know in just a person, I like to talk a lot in examples. And, one of the things before I've always been a believer, but before I became saved, I really thought that I could, my goal was to stop drinking and smoking. And I really thought that I could go into these various communities where people I knew still drank and smoked, and I would be okay.
Yeah.
I'm just a guy that's gonna go there, eat the barbecue, eat the wings, and go on about my business. I experimented with that on numerous occasions, and I failed each time. It was that whole thing. Okay, well, either a little bit ain't gonna hurt, or I'll start again tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna start Monday.
Or I was like, I get to the car where I felt no one could see me. I'd smoke the cigarette or the blunt or have that beer on the way to the house. So in my mind, I didn't do it in front of them.
Yeah, I wasn't at the party.
But I still engaged in what I was trying to quit.
Yes, sir.
You have to, as Mark said, you have to be honest with yourself, because it means nothing if you can't do it when nobody's looking.
Yeah.
It means nothing, because, that's where the integrity, that's where the will comes in. That's where your trust in God comes in.
Yes, sir.
Where do you pivot during them times of the fleshly desire as a single man? Yeah. We're going to get into that in a second. Where do you pivot in terms of those fleshly desires that God gave us these feelings for a reason?
Yeah.
But they should be go in a direction that He has made for us, as marriage, as He has instructed us to. But how do we kill the flesh? How do we kill the flesh? I'll let one of you dial into that, because at the end of the day, me as men, let's be honest, and as single men, we've all been there. We've been single, being transparent with the brothers that's out there. Yeah. We done seen, tasted, looked at, and whether we regretted it afterwards or regretted it down the road, we always came back for more.
I want to speak to that, but I want. Let me put this out here, because I want you to unpack it.
Okay.
I heard a wise man once say this: "To the making of beautiful women, there is no end. You must end it." The making of beautiful women, there is no end. You must end it. And so I want to pass it over to my brother. How, even as a single man. Am I supposed to say? Okay.
You good? Yeah, you good.
Lord,
but he so that way, y'all. Marcus Winfrey is.
Anyway, how does a single man navigate even all of these women?
Right.
How do you do that? Because you're gonna have to learn how to do that for the rest of your life, whether you're single or married.
Right.
What does that look like, man?
So, first off, man, realizing you can't have everything.
Whew.
That's number one. You can't have everything.
Number one.
I don't care how much you are approach with it. I don't care how much they throw it,
Yeah.
how much they send it,
Yeah.
text it,
Oof.
call it. You can't have everything.
Can't have everything.
You know, and realize that a lot of men don't think this, but you are a prize as well, right? Who you are, what you have to offer is a prize as well.
Preach.
You're not just a piece of meat. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And when you know, I found myself in that place at one point.
Right.
You know, I was getting passed as a piece of meat. You
Right.
know?
Right.
That's what I
Talk.
want. Give it here.
Right.
Let's go. You know, and I'm, running back
Running
and
back
forth
and
to the
forth,
point where
chasing that.
exactly.
Yeah.
I got tired. Like, bro,
Right.
like.
Tired.
Give me a hug, man.
Right,
I
right,
just come in
right.
here before,
Tell me
you
I
know?
look good today.
Exactly. You know,
Right.
I just give me some space. you know?
Right. Right.
And so a lot of brothers, you know, we have to realize you are somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to.
Yeah.
I know it feels good. I know it sounds good to talk about it amongst your peers.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, when it's all said and done, I was telling these guys off camera. You know, I was sick a couple weeks ago, and I'm in the house. You know, nice house, all alone. You know, nobody there to call, hey, I need some juice. I had to crawl from a room to my kitchen, which is a long crawl. You know, I'm like, crawl there to find me some juice, and I'm sitting there. And to get back to the bed took a while again. Have to realize, all those fine women,
Wow.
all the big booties, the big breasts, none of that stuff mattered at
That
that
stuff
point.
matter.
Okay?
Right.
When I thought I was getting ready to check out of here, what could I do with the big butt?
Right.
What could I do with the nice
could you
breasts?
do?
Right.
Nothing. You know, at the end of the day, you still left empty on the inside
Mhm.
because you got a temporary fulfillment, but you still don't have everything you need on the inside. So as a man, you have to realize, even
Wow,
though
that's
it looks
good.
good, I can't have all that.
Right.
And then I have to I have to realize, what is it benefiting me? Is it the couple seconds of pleasure that I get when it's all said and done? Or is it I'm going to look for something a little more meaningful to me?
Yeah. Wow.
So
Wow.
I can go on
That's
and
heavy.
on about that, but
No,
That's
that
heavy.
thing was real.
That's
Yeah,
heavy
yeah.
right there.
I had to pause for a minute, like
Yeah.
just take that in, man. I'm imagining you home alone, crawling from the
Right.
bedroom to the kitchen, and I'm also juxtaposing that with what you just said about, but could no hips and thighs help me in that?
Right.
correct.
Right.
So man, you got to be good without hips and thighs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be good
Yeah.
by yourself, and there are a lot of single men who are not good by themselves. You're not good alone. That word alone is comprised of two words, all one. You got to be good all one, bro.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Sorry, King. I got
No,
excited.
no, this is good. This is good. And what kind of going back to what Marcus said, that experience, right? You know, that can be an eye opener for us in so many different ways, you know. And now we begin to evaluate who we are, who we want to be, where we're going, where we want to go. You know, what can we tell single men in terms of future planning, right? So you desire to be married, you desire to have a family. Maybe you have children already, but you still desire to have a home per se. You know, how did they begin to plan for that? You know, we've all been single before. We've always put the big booty, the big breasts, all of that as priority because that's what we lived for. We went got the clothes for the women. We went got the fresh cut for the women. We went got all these things for the women. See me, look at me. Hopefully I can holler, and hopefully we can take it to the next phase, right? But now here we are in life where Marcus just basically described, whereas there are levels to singleness that gives you some forms of emptiness.
Yeah.
You know, so where can we help our men, single men, plan to say, hey, what I need in my life will not be found in being promiscuous, won't be found in drinking, won't be found in blunts, it won't be found in pornography, because that's big with men, you know. Where can we help them navigate through those things?
So we're back to the first question.
Yeah,
Right?
I know I said a lot there, but yeah.
Nah, but we're back to what we talked about.
Yeah,
So there's a difference, guys, who are listening, between work and job.
yeah,
We spend a lot of time in job, but to your question, what I would say is, man, we have to lean into work. So work is what you were born to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
Job is what you're hired to do.
Yeah, that's good.
You got to build that work out. What are you born to do? Because that is the thing. Your purpose is the most attractive thing on you. Haircuts are great, beards are great, but this woman is coming to help you at some point.
Yeah.
So what are you working on that she can help you with. Because if you don't know what you're working on, you don't need help.
Yeah.
Right? You got to get your work. What's the purpose of your help me, man? So
Right, right.
I would start with defining what is my life's purpose? What's the work that I'm called to do? What am I assigned to do? And build everything around that. And then when she comes in, man, everything is laid out. Again, back to Adam and Eve, he was working his work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I take 2 minutes on this, bro?
Yes, you can. Or 3 if you need.
They were created at the same time. Adam, Eve created at the same time.
Correct.
Adam was sent to the earth to work his work without Eve, right? But they were both given the mandate to be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue. They both had this assignment to do, yet he's in the earth by himself at his house, working his work.
Yeah.
The moment God breathed into Adam, Eve is placed on demand because they can't do all of these things. He can't do it without her.
Right.
Correct.
So fellas, I need you to hear this. Single men, you got to hear this, man. The work is what's going to draw her, not the job.
Wow.
She's coming to help you with the work. So build your work out, right? And your work, everything that has to do with work. I just heard my brother say, man, he got a house, all of these things because he's working his work. So now when this woman comes, her job is now not to help you build the work, it's help you to work the work that you've built. So every single man, you have to know why you are on this earth. It's important.
Yeah.
Build everything around that. And so when this woman comes, she can help you sustain what you've already established as work.
That's it.
So how do men navigate through the trial and error of that? Meaning that, so I'm working, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting it all, getting it together in hopes of, and really this is probably the same mindset women have. Now that I think about Boaz and Rachel, working, but how do I know that's her?
Good question.
I don't want to go through the trial and error, or I've been through the trial and error where I've lost financially, I've lost emotionally, I've lost spiritually. And now, do I just stay single because, look, I can avoid all that, or how do I say, or no, not say, but how do I know, like, I went through these 10, but number 11, the one?
Go ahead, yeah. I got to, but I go after you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back to Adam and Eve. When he saw her, he said, this is now bone of my bones,
Just
flesh of
own
my
it,
flesh,
that's it.
shall be called woman. What is he doing in that moment? He is pointing to God broke his bone and cut his flesh. So Adam is now pointing to the place where he's been broken and cut for this woman. How does a man know when he's in the presence of the one, the vulnerable side of him will begin speaking louder than the champion side of him?
Yeah.
Adam doesn't speak to what he succeeded in when he sees her. He said, this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman. I'm speaking now to the parts of me that I can't share with my boys.
Yeah.
To the parts of me I can't talk about out loud. So when that woman comes into your life and your vulnerable, softer, more gentle side, fellas, when that starts speaking, she might be the one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it doesn't always go off looks either.
Yes, sir.
A lot of brothers, we get caught up. She look good, so that's the side of me that wants her. But like what David was saying, when I can be open
Yeah.
and honest without the feeling of the negative repercussions coming behind that,
Right.
I'm in the presence of somebody who possibly could be it.
Yeah, bro.
And I don't have to try to lie or try to make myself look like something
Yeah.
to please her when she wants to know the negative or the bad side or the softer side of you, and she loves you from that place. I heard you say on the last episode with your wife, you had some areas of things that you were dealing with.
Yeah.
And she loved you through those.
Yeah.
bro.
And that's reasons how you know. Those are things how you know when you realize you have to. Can you pray with me? Can you do this? That might not be somebody for you. You know what I'm saying? But when you have somebody who see when you're in a vulnerable, let me pray for you.
Yes.
Let me speak to that weaker side of that man, who you are.
Yeah.
Those how you able to realize, okay, I'm dealing with something different.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with something.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because everybody there, oh, you look good, you look good, come on. But what woman is going to stay, okay, I'm going to help you, I'm going to build this because I see something great in that.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of times, men, we're visionaries. Women are more time, they'll take what you give them and they'll make it something. I heard a saying: you give a woman a house, she make it a home. You give her some food, she make a meal.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how it is. When you give her something to work with, she has something to say. Okay, hey, I got something
I
to
got
work
something
with.
to work with.
And
Yeah.
that's when you're open enough to yourself to say, and to that woman, and you're real enough to be like, man, I really got some self-esteem issues.
Yeah.
You know, and I do this because I'm trying to put on, but I really don't feel like that. You know, I was dealing with all these women because I was hurt,
Yeah.
and I never wanted to feel, never wanted to be open enough to get hurt. And when I don't want to hear none of that. You might not be
It
there.
might
But
not
when
be
she
the
like,
one.
well, talk. What
Let's
you
talk
mean
about it.
about
Yeah.
what I hurt? You building something that you can't get off the streets.
Yeah.
You know, anybody can go buy an escort
Right.
and get your a
Win
good
free.
feeling.
Right.
Exactly, but you can't go buy someone who genuinely cares and genuinely wants to see you better. And so you realize that, hey, I'm dealing with somebody that's something serious because they don't care about the appearance, they care about the inside.
Yeah.
They care about my heart.
Right.
And when you have somebody concerned about that, you say, man, I will move heaven and earth to make sure this woman is okay because she cares about me to a point to where she wants to see me be a better person than I am, who I am right now. So, yeah.
That's you
What is wrong with
just
you?
impacting. I'm trying to
Jesus
unpack
Christ.
that. Look,
Oh, have mercy.
I was thinking about. Oh man,
Hey, this dude is a problem.
I was thinking about when you saying that in terms of the Spirit was telling me there are men that are missing it. And what the Spirit, as you were talking, it's continued to download to me, and I'll give you an example before I dive into it. So, I ordered something online like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, right? Some workout shorts that I want to, as I pursue my health space. And I'm like, man, these shorts still ain't came yet. You know, what's going on with it?
Yeah.
I didn't order it. I sent the people an email and all that. They gave me the tracking and tracked it. I'm looking for it because I thought it was coming UPS. When I went back and looked at the tracking, it said USPS.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, here I am.
I'm looking for
I'm
the right
looking
thing
for
in the wrong
place.
Oh, that's good.
I'm looking for the right thing in the wrong place. And I have to be mindful that the package may not come the way I think it should look like. I was like, Lord.
I'm looking for a certain color.
I'm looking for a certain color.
I'm looking for a certain size.
A certain size.
Because I'm thinking it's UPS.
Thinking it's UPS.
And it's coming a different
It's
package.
coming a different way.
In a different way.
And going back, you saying all about looks. Yes, we attracted to what we attracted to. We love what we love. We desire what we desire. But we need to, so we don't miss the package, we need to know what God is sending to us.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
We need to know what God is sending to us, man. If not, we going to miss it.
I love what you said, though.
Yeah.
It started with what you ordered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's it.
It doesn't start with the package. It starts with what comes out of your mouth.
Ooh,
What
yes.
did you order?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And if what I ordered, if what I get ain't what I ordered, if this not what I prayed for, I got to send this back.
Yeah.
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 If this, because it looks good, looks packaged well, I love it.
Right,
But that's
right.
not what I ordered.
Ordered.
I got to send it back.
Right.
Because when it's all said and done, watch it. I've got goals. I ordered these shorts because I'm trying to get to this person.
Mm.
And if I'm putting sweats on, but I ordered shorts, you're not going to help me get to what I'm trying to do.
Get to.
Right? So I've got to make sure that I order right and then I look right.
Yeah.
And I'm looking in the right place for what I ordered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's good. That's good. And kind of the mental space, right? As single men, we can sometimes be in a place of depression.
Yes, sir.
We'll make the mistake, and I do say mistake before I say this, we'll make the mistake of comparison.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Comparison, whether it's to our single friends or to our married friends, or whether we somewhere having dinner and we see a married couple along the way somewhere in that restaurant enjoying themselves. We'll make these comparisons, right? And it sends us into this depression or these insecurities and all this spiral of not feeling good about us, right? What do we as men, it really makes me think about Philippians 4:8 as I'm saying, in terms of thinking on those things that are good, thinking on those things that are true. How can we help men understand to not one compare, but also to try really avoid beating yourself up in this season, right? You know, because your partner married and got a big house, or because you feel you saw them, they have the white picket fence home and all of that, and you don't have that yet. That's not a reason to feel like you haven't made it or you won't get there, and causing thus that depression, and insecurity.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What made you order those shorts?
What made me order the shorts?
Those shorts that you ordered.
My desire to be healthy. Yeah.
So you didn't order sweatpants.
As a tool, as one of the, I guess you could say, almost like a tool.
As a tool.
This is going to help me
be healthy.
Be healthy, yeah.
Right. So you knew what you needed, and you ordered what you needed based on your goals.
Yeah.
Based on what I need.
Right.
I can wear his sweats to get what I need because I need the shorts I've ordered. We're back to that, right?
Right.
So you got to know what you need, and you have to only stick to this is what I need for me. I can't compare what Mark is. I can't do what he needs.
Yeah.
I got to know what I need.
Right.
But I can't know what I need if I don't know me.
Correct.
If I don't know me, I'll spend my life wearing black and white coats with gray sweatshirts because I don't know me, right? So I spend all of my life dressing, looking, acting, and wanting what you guys have.
Yeah.
But when I know me, man, I am only obligated to stick to what God has for me.
Wow.
So it's really about me knowing me. Adam recognized Eve because he knew himself. He had been around monkeys, apes, giraffes, and he couldn't identify. But when he knew himself, he could see her and say, that is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh.
Wow.
It starts with me. So single man who's watching this, the most important person you could ever meet is you.
Yeah.
First you, then them.
That's real good. Doing that, it allows you to see things differently. You know, David touched on back what I said in the beginning. Knowing you, when you know you, it makes things easier to know what I need. Okay, my needs are not like David's needs.
Right.
You know, we'll pick two different people 100 times out of 100 because his needs are not my needs. His desires are not mine. And so to go with what you were saying as far as the depression goes and the loneliness, you know, sometimes the loneliness is going to happen. You know, but you have to learn how to fight through that thing.
Yeah.
You can't always feel your loneliness with a temporary fix.
Yes, sir.
You know, and think that you're going to get something eternal after a while or something long lasting when you're always trying to catch the temporary.
Yeah.
Man, I just need somebody to come cuddle tonight.
Yeah.
And thinking that I'm going to get a wife after I finish cuddling.
Yeah.
You have to realize those temporary things are stuff that you got to fight through sometimes. You know, on the other side, the women do it all the time. They lonely too.
Yeah.
But they not going to call you over there. I ain't going to say all of them, but they not going to call you over there to fulfill,
Right.
Not all of them.
They're going to stand down a little bit.
When they know that they want something different, they're going to keep calling you over there. You know what I'm saying? They know you ain't my husband. You just come over here, do what you got to do.
Right.
You know, after a while, them calls going to get a lot slower.
Right,
They gonna
right.
stop, you know, because you want something different. And those are the things that when you feel those depressed and those lonely moments, you got to talk to yourself. I am not depressed. You know, I may be a little lonely. You know, but let me figure something else to do. I don't have to sit inside just because I'm single.
Right.
You know, I can get out and go take myself to dinner. You know, I do
That's
it all
good.
the time.
That's
I can
good.
go take me a walk. I can go to the gym, go do some stuff constructive. You know, find me a hobby to do, something fun to do.
Right.
And go do those things, enjoy myself. Because when you know yourself, when you know who you are, you're not going to sit around and just allow yourself to go into depression.
Right.
You know, a lot of brothers, we do that because, man, I'm just ready for my wife. Get yourself together.
Get yourself
first.
together.
You know, date yourself sometimes. You know, that woman ain't gonna want to come sit in your house all the day. All
Right.
the time you ain't doing nothing.
Right.
Go take yourself on a vacation. She not gonna want to sit. She like most women like to do stuff.
Right.
And if you sitting around just moping, waiting on her to come to live, then your life will pass you by. You'll never make it happen.
And you have to
Live.
expose yourself to things so that you can expose your wife, your family, your fiance along the way to marriage. You have to expose yourself to these things, you know, because if it's good to share experiences and navigate new things together. I'm not taking away from that. But it's good to say, you know, hey, let's go to Puerto Rico, the DR. You know, I went there a couple summers back. I think you'll like it. You know, that's good to have have exposed yourself to various experiences to be able to show that to your significant other, fiance, and hopefully one day your wife. You know, another interesting thing that we're all fathers here, as well. And you know, at a point in my life, I was a single father. I was married before, now married again, and I had a window of time where I was a single father, or co-parenting, as you could say, or people say, where that was always kind of hard, in a lot of aspects, So you have men who maybe have children or a child who are not with the mother, the child's mother, but life happened. People have moved on. They are now probably, more than likely knew themselves. They've identified some things for themselves that have bettered them. How, as single fathers, how do they really work around that and trying to build a relationship with someone? And I almost kind of know the answer to this, but I want the men to hear this, because you hear a lot about the single mom struggle, and that has its place. That has its place, everyone. I want to be clear about that. But you don't hear a lot about the single father struggle. It's always man up. What you mean? Just go get it. Whatever them cliches are. How can we provide men some strategies in terms of, hey, I want to have a family, I want to have a home, I want to have a wife, I'm a single father. What is that going to look like? Is that slowing me down? Is that helping me?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, you have to realize, single or not, as a father, and wanting to build a life, you got to create time for everything that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm a dad. I love my son. When I don't see him, I miss him.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I do is I create time till I go get my son.
Yeah.
I spend time with my son. Now the good thing is I don't have a child. My son's mom is not somebody that's hard to deal with either. So when I want to see my son, it's no issues,
Yeah.
because number one, when she needs help, I'm there. But if she don't need help, I'm there, because you didn't make this child alone.
Right.
So I'm gonna make sure I do my part, whether I like you or not. Some days I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Some days I don't want to be bothered, but I'm still the father
Right.
of the child, and I'm gonna make sure I do my part no matter what.
Yeah.
Because the child is innocent. He didn't do anything to get here. He didn't do anything wrong, and his job is not to make us happy or anything. His job is to be my child. So for me, when it comes down to that situation, hey, let's make sure we have good communication. I hear you. I understand you. I don't have to fight you because we had a child together. You're not my enemy.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, we
That's where I was going.
Exactly,
I was going there.
So
Yeah.
I think a lot of brothers,
Yeah.
they still have so much love and don't know how to express that.
Yeah.
You still want to be with the mama, but you couldn't get yourself together.
Yeah.
You still want the woman, but you couldn't do it. Or she was a one night stand or something that you didn't like, and you went laid up and had. Those are issues that you had that you have to live with yourself about. Hey, it was a mistake.
Right.
You made it.
Right.
Okay, but it doesn't mean that you have to have a tumultuous relationship with this woman who is the mother of your child. Okay, the reason why you're able to go hustle and go get it is because she's at home watching your baby.
Yes.
Okay, and you have to honor that. I don't care if your wife don't like it or whoever don't. You still have to honor that woman, because at the end of the day, she's raising your child.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She's helping you with that. Now, if you're in a situation where you have to do everything on your own, that's a different story.
That's different, right?
You still have to. You have to be able to date with a child. You know what I'm saying? Like, get your community people. Hey, I need you to watch my baby. I'm trying to get a little date going.
Yeah.
You got to pay somebody to do what you got to do. You got to do that. But if you're in a position where you have the help of the mother, you lean on that.
You lean
know
on
what I'm
it.
saying?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
you're not my enemy.
Right.
And I'm never gonna allow you to be my enemy, because at the end of the day, we're parenting this child, and he or she doesn't need to see any negative stuff going on between the two of us. If we have a disagreement, let's do that on the phone away from these kids.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they don't need to see me cussing you out, you cussing me. They don't need nobody.
Yeah.
The kids don't need to see that.
And that's a lot of
know?
men's story.
Yeah.
That's a lot of men's story in terms of, I love my son, I love my daughter, but me and the mom clash every time we talk to each other.
Yeah, that's
Every
because
time we
there's some unresolved
clash.
issues
No
there.
resolved issues
Yeah.
there. That's like unresolved issues
Yeah.
are there. Yeah.
Yeah. When I communicate, if I have an issue,
And
and I like
unforgiveness. I'm
something-
sorry. I had to throw the unforgiveness.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
unforgiveness too. When I communicate, if I have an issue, and I see it's not going the right way, look, I'm gonna just talk to you later.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna cuss you out, not gonna call you out your name, none of that, because at the end of the day, that's how I'm showing my son how to treat his mom. when I do those type of things.
Yeah.
And so I'm always cognizant of the fact that that's his mom.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not my mama, but that's his, and so he has to know how to. And I'm going to require him to treat his mom and any woman with respect.
Right.
Okay, and in order for me to require that, I have to do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so even with dating or going outside and finding somebody else to be with, it's not, you're not gonna see a whole lot of women around your child. You know what I'm saying? Like, every woman you date should meet your child. Every man you date should meet your child. You know what I'm saying? So if it's somebody that I actually like, hey, look, I got a girl. I'm gonna bring my son around. What you think about that? You cool? I'm not cool right now. Okay, cool. Whenever you're ready, because she's gonna be around. So whenever you're ready, then we'll introduce that.
You're
Yeah,
right.
she's gonna
She'll
be
be
here.
it,
You know
right,
what I'm saying? I'm
right.
not gonna stop living because you're mad. But it's we gonna respect it. We gonna respect it the same way. You have some women that's not okay. They gonna throw a fit. You know what I'm saying? Because of whatever the situation may be, and we can go into different reasons why they like that.
Right.
That's not what this show about. But they might throw a fit or whatever, but you still have to stand true to who you are and stand your ground. Like, I'm not disrespecting you. I'm never gonna let that person disrespect you or our child, and have those boundaries in place.
Mm.
When you have healthy boundaries, things are easy to deal with.
Yes.
When you
yes.
over there laying up one minute, then you talking about you got a girlfriend the next minute,
That ain't gonna
that's
work.
when you gonna have
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah.
You
You creating those
you-
problems
exactly.
at that
You are
point.
creating that, and you
Yeah.
are the issue. And you need to stop lying to be honest with yourself.
Right.
I was just with my baby mama yesterday. Now I'm talking
Now
about
I'm
I got a
talking-
girlfriend tomorrow. That's not gonna work.
That ain't gonna work.
She ain't
You're
gonna,
right.
you gonna never have
Right.
peace in the house.
Right.
So being honest with who you are and saying, okay, I'm a dad. I'm single. I'm trying to look for something different. I want to find something different in my life. Act like that. Act like you
Yeah.
want something different.
Right.
Don't be out here doing the same old stuff because your children are watching you. As a father, you want to create a good mindset, a good environment for that child to grow up and see, okay, I didn't see dad running women.
Yeah.
He might have been there before me, but I didn't see
I didn't
that.
see. Right. Right.
Mama might
Example.
have been,
Example
mama might have
again.
had a lot of men, but I didn't see that. All I seen is mom being respectful in front of me, dad being respectful in front of me, and those are the things that we have to do when dating or even just having kids. Period. And if you do decide to date, you need to make sure you have those boundaries in place.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, pivoting a little bit to the financial side of it, right? We, as single men, we tend to probably have more at certain points of our life, or more disposable income, should I say? Because as a married man, you may have less disposable income than that of a single man, depending on where you are in that season of your life. One of the things that I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago when we were discussing finance. He's single, and we were discussing finances and how do we investments, all the different things on how to be better financially, and so we got on the subject of tithing. And he, in his mind, tithing was, I see someone at the corner store, they need $5, give them $5. I drop a few coats off at Salvation Army, drop the coats off. And he's not understanding, he's saying he's single, he has, he makes decent money, but he's not seeing where that is shifting to a place of surplus. He feels like he's going backwards. He don't know where the money's exiting. Coming out the door, he don't know what door it's exiting to, right? And so I try to minister to him in a place from financial stewardship as a single man and all the opportunities around that. In this season, you should be in my opinion, you should be very aggressive in your savings. You should be very aggressive to where you see your money going out. You should be very intentional about that being your focus versus looking good for a woman. We want to look good and feel good, but that shouldn't be your focus. That shouldn't be your why, And we're around finances, and I know we're not experts here in the financial field, but I'm speaking spiritual now when I say this in terms of God's instructions, as a single man. And where should he lie his focus in that financial part of it, so he doesn't be wasteful, so he doesn't not be a good steward in essence, but preparing himself for Eve, right? Preparing himself for that.
Go ahead, you go first.
I would say, man, I think it's important you have to be a visionary. As a man, you have to be a visionary your whole life. So I think a part of that is having vision for the future. Instead of living in the now, you really have to think about who am I wanting to be 10 years from now.
Mm.
Correct.
Based on what I ask myself and how I respond, what is it going to take for me to be this person 10, 20, 30 years from now? What do I need to put in place for that person to be in place? So that's health, that's financially, that's spiritually. What I learned, man, and this is it's blown my mind, is I can be who I want to be.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, man.
As cliche as it may sound, it's very real.
It's real,
Yeah.
right? So I can be the financial man I want to be, but I have to put things in place in order to position myself to be that. So you have to have foresight, and then whatever you see in that future, man, ask yourself, what do I need to put in place? Here's the other thing, too, I would say to the gentlemen, especially those of us in the African-American community, man, you've got to be a student of your next level. You have to be, man. Yeah. So even as Marcus, I don't know if it was this pod or last podcast, man, you got to read books. You got to turn some of the social media off, man, and really dive into learning the things that you don't know.
Yeah.
And creating community and being around people who know what you need to know. Man, and just ask questions. It's important.
Yeah, that's good. I think too. Back to the question. I'm trying to. I lost my train of thought here, but
financial
the
piece.
financial piece. Yeah.
Thank you. The financial piece. One thing about what when I thought of when you first said that, Clarence, where was Adam when he got Eve? Adam had a job. Adam had an occupation. He knew he knew his purpose.
Yeah.
He knew what he had to do. And when God presented Eve, he already had what he needed to have Eve to come into it.
That's good.
Okay? As a single man, there's things that you need to get squared away first. Okay?
That's good.
You know, if you rent an apartment, that's fine. You know, if you rent it somewhere, you staying somewhere, all those things are fine. But have a plan on what we're going to do once we get together.
Yeah.
Or once I get the person.
Yeah.
You know, you might say, well, I want to buy a home. Do that. That's fine too. You know, but also keep your credit good because your wife might not want to stay there.
Right.
It's your bachelor pad.
Right.
You know, I don't want to stay in your bachelor pad. You know,
ran through a few.
Exactly.
Right. Same bed, all that. Yeah. That got to go.
So keep your credit together. You know, figure out, like David said, what's your goal? What's your future for your life? You know, like you have a home now, but your wife might not want to stay there. You know what I'm saying? She might say, well, we could stay here for a year or two, but I'm ready to go because I don't need none of you women popping up, knocking on the door over here and all this kind of stuff, which she has a valid point. You know, you might have, you might see something that she likes, your wife, you might get a wife that likes nice things, likes to do different stuff, and you so financially strapped, you can't do anything. You have to make sure you have yourself in a place where I'm not so strapped and so tight to where when it's time to pivot, I can't pivot.
Right.
I'm stuck to where
right.
You know, I can't buy nothing. I can't take you on a date because I gotta pay these bills.
Yeah.
You know? That's not appealing. So you have to make sure you're living in a place where this is what I can afford. These are my means. So whenever someone else comes in, I'm not taking you as a sigh of relief to help pay bills, but you're somebody who you can add to, or we can add to one another, and we can build on some more stuff together.
Yes.
But if you already strapped and waiting on somebody to come help you, it's gonna be hard for you. So as a single man, having a savings, but also living among your means, your means, is important too.
I think the flips, if you don't mind me
adding,
the other side to that, everything that Marcus said is correct, and the other side too is realizing there's some things I won't have in place.
Correct.
There's some things that my wife is going to add to
me.
Right? So that means taking some of the stress off of myself of not having, I don't have to have everything in place.
Correct.
But my brothers, you got to have something in place, right? And then she comes in and she adds to what I have. Now we can build together. But take the pressure off of yourself of having to have all of these things in place. Make sure you have the basics. Even as my brother's saying, man, you got to have somewhere to live, something to eat. You guys have something to drive. You got to have work. You have something in place.
Correct.
And then she come add to that, man. But don't feel like you have to have it all together.
Correct. Correct.
As y'all were speaking, I want to go to this. Something fell in my spirit, and I want to go to the definition of this. And hope I'm spelling it right. Okay, so I found it. So as y'all were speaking about it, God dropped in my spirit plateau. So as a single person,
Let me go ahead.
as a single person, single brothers, I want y'all to hear this good.
Let's go.
I want y'all to hear this good because as Marcus and David was talking about that journey, realizing there's going to be where you're going to plateau. And I'm going to read what plateau means. You're going to plateau in your singleness. To reach a state or level or little or no growth or decline, especially to stop increasing or progressing or remaining at the stable level or achievement that you're currently at.
Yes, sir.
So as the gentleman, I want you guys to digest that. I want you guys to digest plateau. In your singleness, you're going to inevitably, excuse my destruction of that word, but it's going to be a come a time where you're going to plateau. And because God's intention for you is not to be alone. It is for your helpmeet in various capacities, whether it's financially, whether it's emotionally, whether it's physically, all these different areas, and as y'all were speaking, God was saying to me that many of the men, they don't even know they've plateaued yet. Because they still chasing what they think is going to get them ahead, but not realizing you're chasing that dollar or that second job or whatever it is versus being attentive to God for your helpmeet.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to move you away from the plateau season or the plateau phase. But go ahead.
The word plateau, I looked it up, just the etymology of that word.
Mm-hmm.
This is that podcast, bro. That Guy Talk podcast, that's the one.
Yes.
Yeah. That word plateau means to enter a period of stability or stagnation.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So to the gentleman who's watching this, man, you can plateau with stability
Yeah.
and stagnation.
Yeah.
But it also means, but here's the other thing, it means cease to rise.
Wow.
So the plateau means
Wow.
to cease to rise.
Wow.
So you want to ask yourself the question, in my singleness, am I still rising?
Wow.
If
That's
I'm
good.
not, because you could be moving and not rising.
That's good.
Right?
That's
You can
good.
you can be functioning, busy, but you're not rising.
Yeah.
So if you're not rising, if you don't see yourself elevating, if you're in the same place you were 2 years ago, you have plateaued.
You have
King.
plateaued.
So we got to start now looking at
Wow.
what needs to shift in my life.
Wow.
And if I'm in singleness and if I've plateaued, I got to start asking myself, do I need help?
Yeah.
Right? Is it time for me to really seek a wife?
Yeah.
Or do I need to level up in any area of my life? But either way, plateauing means I'm not rising.
I'm not rising.
And we're built. One thing I know about life, whether it's plants, birds, giraffes, animals, people, we're created to grow. And if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
So that growth, that plateau, man,
Wow.
we got to grow. We got
to grow.
Yeah.
I want you to say that part again about the rise part. If you could read it or repeat, I want the audience to really digest that. I want the men to digest that, what that was.
Yeah. So that word plateau, the verb, it means to enter a period of stability or stagnation. Either way, I'm plateauing.
You're right.
Even if I'm really stable, I've reached the limit.
I reached the limit.
Let me just lean in here for a second too. If you have plateaued in stability, you are too comfortable.
Wow.
It's time to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If you have reached a plateau in stagnation, it's time to move. But it also means to cease to rise. So you want to ask yourself the question, am I rising? Or have I been in the same place? If you've been in the same position at work, it's time to, you've been there 10 years, you've plateaued.
Yeah.
It's time that we've got to now level up. You've
Yeah.
got to keep going and
Yes.
keep growing.
Wow. Wow. That's good.
That's good.
That's good. So one of the last things that I want to talk about is, really seeking God as a single man, really having that posture and that habit and the intuitiveness to know what to do in a certain season, right? Because there are going to be different seasons of our lives. Singleness is, for many of us, just a pit stop, right? If we desire to be married, So in this pit stop, if you will, it's important that single men know as we said earlier, who you are and whose you are, but also to build that that line of communication with God, you know, and having that sensitive ear to that, you know. And it's good to have, we talked about the community, right? We talked about the friends. We talked about fellowshipping at church. You know, all those things are very, very much important and needed and have their place. But it's going to start with a relationship with God, you know. And what do we tell or encourage our single men to do in those, you know, they may not know how to pray, you know. They not know how to say, you know, God, you see me out here working, you know I need a car, you know. You see me out here working, God, you know I'm trying to get an apartment, or, you know, whatever that may be, you know. And some of them have not used prayer as the tool, you know. They've used themselves in terms of, okay, I'm gonna figure this thing out, you know. And I think it's time. We're at a point in the earthly realm where it's time for us to, God has to be over 100% of things in our life. I was telling my wife this a couple of days ago. You know, we go to church or in our prayer time, you know, we want to lay 75% of it at the altar. You know, the other 25%, we think in our own strength we can do it. You know, for whatever reason, whether we don't intentionally say that, we mentally and in our actions are doing that, you know. And how can we encourage men to build a better relationship with God? Because ultimately, He has all the answers. Yeah. He has all the answers, you know. And that should be kind of your first point of contact, you know.
You go first.
So I've dealt with this. I deal with this throughout my whole life. I've dealt with this, and for some of us, it's something we always have to remember. What has helped me, man, is to view Him as not just God, but as Father. I was viewing Him as God, and when I had Him as God, He was so far away.
Yeah,
it's just big, so far.
That's
away.
Good. Yeah, that's good,
man. When I learned to view Him as Father, as the person who I go to every single day, and realizing I don't have the answers, neither do I need to, because I have a Father who is ever present with me.
Yeah.
So with that, man, what I had to learn how to do was develop a relationship with Him where I know His voice. Whenever God speaks to me, He uses the name David, not Dave. He says it's David or son. So when I hear David or son, I know that's my Father talking to me, right?
Yeah.
But that came over time. When it comes to Clarence and Marcus, we're just developing our friendship. But the more we speak, the more I'll know your voice.
Yeah.
So if you change your number ever, but you call and say, hey, what's up, Dave? I know your voice.
Yeah.
I may not know the number, but I know your voice. So spending as much time with Him, learning His voice, in His word, around people who speak His language, really developing that conversation and realizing He is Father, not just God. What do you need from your Father? And for many of us, especially in the African-American community, we don't know what that father figure looks like. So this is a wonderful time to really lean in and say, okay, I need you to be my Father. Yeah. What that looks like for me on a very practical level is asking Him everything. Okay, God, what should I wear today and why?
Yeah.
To the podcast, God, what you want me to wear? Why do you want me to wear this, right? How do you want my hair? Do you want me to have a beard this month? Asking Him everything and really listening for His voice, man, it really tunes your ear so that in those moments when it's difficult and challenging, I know God's voice.
Wow, that's good.
There will be times in life where there's so much noise, you have to hear, I need to hear David and Father.
Yes.
When I hear those two things, I know my Father's talking.
It's speaking to me, yeah.
That's it in a nutshell. I don't even have much to add to that.
Yeah, that's good.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, my sheep know my voice.
My sheep know my voice.
And a stranger.
He wasn't that follow.
You know, sometimes that stranger is even your own voice.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm the stranger to me sometimes. Right? I say strange things to myself.
Yeah.
So I need to hear David and Father. If I don't hear David and Father, bro, I'm probably not going to do it.
Yeah.
When this podcast, when you call me, say, hey, can you be, I asked God, do you want me to go? I heard my Father say, you need to be there.
Wow.
So His voice, man, is
His
essential.
voice. Wow. Well, thank you guys for joining us. This has been another awesome episode. David, we have typically, we didn't get an opportunity on the last episode. It was such a good episode. If you guys hadn't seen part one, Permissions to Think Differently, part one, it was awesome. Subscribe to our YouTube and go watch it. But typically at the end of our episodes, we do what is called a wrap-up question. You know, and today's wrap-up question is really, what good nugget, if you will, can you leave to our single men out there in terms of them, whatever whatever capacity or bucket, but what's a good nugget that we can leave them with on today's podcast?
I think what we just talked about, man. Find the Father in God.
That's
Find
good.
the Father in God.
That's good. That's good. Find the Father, brothers. Find the Father. Wow. Communication. You know his voice no matter what. No matter what.
Father in God.
Wow. So thank y'all again for joining us, the Guy Talk Pod, where we are honest, open, and transparent. Dave, you want to give the people how they can find you on all the social platforms?
Yeah. Anywhere, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, it's official David Burrus Global, Burrus, David Burrus Global. I'm going to be hanging out with these guys more, too, as much as possible. So you can find me with them as well.
Great. Marcus, you going to drop your...
M. Winfrey 29 on Instagram, Guy Talk Pod on TikTok, Marcus Winfrey on Facebook.
And go subscribe, y'all.
Yeah,
go
please,
subscribe to YouTube, the Guy Talk Pod. Go subscribe, like, share. Instagram, the Guy Talk Pod, Facebook, the Guy Talk Pod. We really appreciate y'all. Check us out. We love y'all. Thank you. We hope this conversation has impacted you and help you think differently. You now have permission to think differently. Follow our brother, official David Burrus Global. A wealth of information, wealth of knowledge. Brothers, you will not be disappointed. So again, thank you again, the Guy Talk Pod, where we are honest, open, and transparent. See y'all next time. Peace.